What's going on, everybody? This is Chris Poole.
This is Caleb.
It's High Def Cam.
And welcome back to another tier list. This time we've got Nick shows, so stay tuned. It's going to be a good one.
Sit back, turn it up and let it ride. Tune in any day or any night. You need to hit the like and please subscribe right now, because you hanging with the guys.
All right, everybody, and welcome. Today we've got Nick shows, so it'll be a mixture of live action and cartoon shows. We will try to go in order. We've got a don't remember tab this time because there were some movies that we hadn't seen. So this time, if we haven't seen it as a consensus, we'll go ahead and add it there. We will start with Big Time Rush, and I will let Cam, the elder statesman, go ahead and take this one.
What is Big Time Rush?
Big Time Rush is like a group, a boy band. It was like the Nick version of One Direction or whatever, right, Caleb?
I don't think I remember.
Yeah, it was like a C. It wasn't trash, but it definitely wasn't. It wasn't all that.
Probably what I would say too. It was like pretty popular when it was like in its heyday, but
if it was on, I wouldn't turn it off.
It's like background noise, like you just playing in the background. Next is Icarly. I know you can't really see it. Go ahead, Cam.
Oh no, I was saying I probably would know what show it is if I've seen it, but just off the name and the logo, I not ringing the bell. But Icarly, fire.
I think we should.
I think it's A tier. It's not quite S.
Yeah. I think it's A. Icarly was really good. It has a lot of memorable moments. I haven't seen the spinoff of it yet, but Icarly, I don't think you can go lower than B. But I don't think it's one of those shows that's like a all-time staple in my opinion.
Nah.
So, I believe this next one's Salmon Cat.
Yeah, which is what it looks like.
Which is
which is spin-off of Icarly and Victorious.
I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, it's C tier.
C tier? I would agree. I think
it's like the same. It's basically the same. Like it's in that same era, that same kind of feel of Big Time Rush. It's just kind of mid.
I feel you.
Cash.
I'm gonna skip this one because we're not exactly sure what that is. I thought it was Billy and Mandy, but
Billy and Mandy is Cartoon Network.
That's what Caleb's is saying. It is definitely Cartoon Network. So we're gonna go to SpongeBob.
S tier, yeah.
And
Fairly OddParents, S tier.
So let's slow down.
Funny.
So let's slow down. So SpongeBob, are there any reasons why we would consider this not to be an S tier?
I mean, the quality has fallen off in my opinion, but I mean, it's just for a different generation. I mean, it's been going forever. It's Nickelodeon's #1 show of all time. Like, there's no reason SpongeBob isn't S tier. The movies are fire. The seasons are fire. Like,
I agree. I have no objections. My favorite cartoon of all time, probably. So yeah, I would definitely put there. So Fairly OddParents, I don't want to put S, and that's not because of me. That's because of things that I've heard when talking with other people. And so I think that Fairly OddParents is really high up there. But when you say Fairly OddParents, like, people aren't like, oh, it's SpongeBob tier. I don't think it's on SpongeBob's level. I think that.
But what is on SpongeBob's
exactly level? And there are a few on here that I think can contend with SpongeBob, and we'll get there. But I think Fairly OddParents is just like that secondary show that is that filler, like, you know what I mean?
I know it got to be unanimous, so we can't throw it on that S tier, but I think Fairly OddParents is blowing Icarly out the water.
I disagree with that statement. I think that you have to take it for two different things, because there is a live action and a cartoon aspect, and it's harder to do a live action well than a cartoon. And so if we're talking about cartoons and Nickelodeon's run, SpongeBob is the standard. And so Fairly OddParents doesn't have nearly as much quotable as SpongeBob, nearly enough like memorable moments and episodes and characters. SpongeBob like is like all over the map. Like, I'm going to be Smitty Werber Yeagerman dancing for Halloween. Like, who would I be from Fairly OddParents? Cosmo? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not quite there.
Mr. Crocker?
I could be Jorgen Von Stringel, but I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, there's a few. It's pretty repetitive, if that makes sense. SpongeBob is repetitive in the sense that they are in the same world, but I think it diversifies a lot more. Any more thoughts on Fairly?
That's fair.
I see what you did.
Fairly.
Cool. Wild Thornberries. I think that this was probably, for me at least, one that I remembered a lot, but not episodes in particular. And so for me, I think like I thought that the show was really good for, you know, when I did see it, but I can't remember much about it other than the kid that couldn't speak English. So Cam, maybe you have more memories because you're a little older.
I feel like it was a very solid show. Don't get me wrong, it's solid. But looking at one of the other shows that are on this tier list that we haven't gotten to yet, it's kind of like they even did a movie together. So with Rugrats, and if you're comparing it to Rugrats to Wild Thornberries, it's just not making the cut.
So to me, I put this in a B, a low B. Just because Nigel, I think the dad, he was hilarious with his voice and stuff. There were like, I thought it was funny, and I wouldn't turn it off if it was on to this day. But I wouldn't say like, if I had a choice. Honestly, if I had a choice, I would watch it because I don't remember it as much. But if you're putting it head to head with, you know, Fairly, I wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't be a question there. But definitely not a C tier like Big Time Rush and Salmon Cat.
I'm just not. I wasn't old enough to remember. So
so Teenage Robot, very, very good. I'll let Caleb start.
It's a B tier for me. It was kind of, I mean, it had some moments, but it wasn't on Fairly Oddparents level. Definitely not S tier, but I wouldn't drop it to a C.
So my thing with Teenage is it had a lot more promise than it delivered for me. Yeah. Animation wise, voice acting wise, story development wise. I thought that the show was really clever and funny, and it did what it needed to do. But it's kind of like on the same, like it's not on the same level as Fairly as well. And so that's the standard of A for me right now. Definitely not a C tier. I think it could be a high C, but I think it just doesn't have as much staying power. I don't know what you think, Ken.
I thought it was a very solid show. Entertaining, action, you know, animation decent as far as the drawing and stuff like that. You know, had a little crush on her as a robot girl, which is weird, but I mean, like you said, it's not up there with Fairly, not even close.
I actually didn't think that the animation was that great.
That's what I'm saying. I thought that's where it struggled for me compared to other shows of the day, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it was more of that 2D, you know.
And that's what I'm saying. I think for it to be a futuristic type of show with a robot, it was not a futuristic, you know, style of art at that time. It was very, you know, relaxed. So we can go on to all that. I'll let Cam go first.
Well, see, but you know, I'm easily satisfied. To me, this S tier, bro.
Caleb?
I'm gonna get bashed.
Go ahead.
It's A.
I agree. Honestly, it's a low A for me, and it's just, and maybe I'm bashing it because I'm a little older now and it's meant for kids. But I think that if we're comparing things to things like SpongeBob and its prime like ability to satisfy, like there's another one on this list I think is better. That's a animation. But I just think that it's really good. It's a staple. Like the theme song is probably the greatest on this list by far, like the greatest theme show ever for me. Like next to
Kenan and Kel is up there.
Like Fresh Prince and all that. Like all that was TLC. Like what? Like all that was one of the greatest themes. So I think it's really, really, really good. I might be a little too young, and maybe that's why like I'm getting bashed. But I watched the show enough to know what it's about and everything like that. So while we're on that subject, we can talk about Kenan and Kel. Since I went last, I think that Kenan and Kel is worse than all that, and it's not even close. The story, the writing was not as good in terms of, all that is essentially the children's version of Saturday Night Live. Would you agree with that, Caleb? All that is the children's version of Saturday Night Live. Kenan and Kel was basically the same exact show every single episode. It was, they have this crazy idea and they're like, we shouldn't do it. And then they do it and try it and then it fails and blows up. And then they have another, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing every episode.
Who loves orange soda? I don't know.
It's solid. I would watch it every single time it came on, but it is not as good as all that to me. And so I love Kenan and Kel for their characters, but they were in all that. You know what I mean?
I would honestly choose Kenan and Kel over all that. If I had to choose.
Also.
That's fair. I can see that point of view for sure, and I'm not gonna fight it. I think in terms of it's hard for me because I remember the Amanda show was in all that, right? And then there was Big Lady, and then there's the Judge. What was the Judge show? The one with the Judge? That they had a lot of good bits that were ongoing. So they had similar stories in that, but they were able to mix it up because they had different people. It kind of reminds me of Crashbox. How Crashbox had the same things, but they would mix it up every episode. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I think we can move them both to B.
You think so?
Looking at what else is on the list. I mean, since we're in that live action 90s spin-offs of all that, can we talk about Amanda's show?
Where's Amanda's show at? There it is.
I think Amanda's show is the best out of all of them.
And so I thought that Amanda's show was I'm mixing it up a little bit. Amanda's show was fire.
I think Amanda's show is better. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I think Amanda's show was just a better overall product than all that in Kenan and Kel. It was like you're saying, I think you're about to say it's a mix between both of them.
Yes, absolutely. It was they pulled off the skit vibe, but still made it solely about her, but she delivered it in a way where it was it was corny, but it wasn't too corny. You know what I mean?
I thought it did a really good job. I was confusing. I think that is where I would rank it. Amanda's show 1, Kenan and Kel for me is 3, but it's basically a tie, a toss up. If any of those 3 shows came on, it's that same bunch of time for me.
Yeah, but you would watch it.
I would watch it.
I mean, it's not you wouldn't watch.
I've watched any of these B and up so far. So I don't think it's a bad show. We can go back in order. Back at the Barnyard. I don't remember it enough for me. Caleb, maybe.
It was trash, my guy.
So?
It was trash, my guy. Even the animation was bad. If you put up a picture of what that animation looked like,
I don't remember enough.
It was
I can
bad.
remember maybe an episode, but I don't really remember it enough to give it a fair grade. Do you remember?
I thought it was decent, man. I thought it was decent, but at the same time, compared to everything else that we have to grade on this list, yes, it's acceptable for watching, but
all right. Cat Dog for me is another with strong contention of S tier, but I don't know for me if it quite gets to SpongeBob that level, because the same downfall of some of these shows is that it has a repetitive-ish type of vibe to it. I think it was for its time, really, really, really good. And I actually will talk about what I compare it to in a second, but I think Cat Dog's better than Fairly for me. I don't think that's really the debate, but is it quite there for me? I don't know. Maybe y'all can convince me.
Go ahead, Cam. I don't really know what I think, honestly.
I think that Cat Dog is solid. The humor is there, the satire, it's entertaining, just the dynamic between cat versus dog, the characters, you kind of almost have expectations for the show, by learning the different personalities of characters. But like you said, it just something about it didn't all the way push it to that like S tier. And I feel like to me it is still debatable whether or not Fairly and Cat Dog are neck and neck or comparable, or if one supersedes the other. You know what I mean?
For me, and like I said, Cat Dogs might have been later 90s, and so I don't remember it as well as Prime Fairly. And that's why Fairly Oddparents is a little bit more quotable than Cat Dog for me. But even the Cat Dog, I do remember, like, I don't remember actual quotes. I remember more like moments, if that makes sense. And so,
like dog getting super swole.
yeah, and like the smart mouse that would always like, you know, treat them basically. And so like I remember it very well. It's a really good show, but Fairly like stole from my mom's purse, like that type stuff. The rules with Jorgen, like I thought, you know, the
Crimson
Chin, the
Chip
Skylark. They had Doug Dimmadome. They had the teacher, Mr. Crocker. Like they
Mr.
had
Crocker
a lot
comes.
more elements than Cat Dog's like 3 main characters. That I can remember.
What I will ask moving forward, are we counting like if they fell off super hard at the end?
I would say
counting that?
Prime.
Are we talking about Prime? Like
I would
peak
say
Prime.
I would
like,
say, like, think of it like the NBA. Like Dwight Howard, you're gonna remember him as him being Dwight Howard, not him at the end of his career.
All right.
Type thing.
All right.
Or
Yeah,
like
because if that
Michael
was
Jordan.
the case, because if that was the case, even SpongeBob, like Caleb was saying before, some of these episodes, these newer episodes, are just
I
straight.
haven't seen them, but I've heard that
Trash.
SpongeBob has maintained a decent level, like
Well,
a pretty solid
The
level.
the animation has gotten better, but it's kind of like it peaked when we were like, when it was our age group, kind of dipped after the movie, and then I've heard that it's gotten a little bit better because some of the original people have gotten back on it. So
This last SpongeBob movie, the animations on that were crispy. Just on
Yeah, I
that.
haven't
Yeah,
kept
I've
up.
heard-
I'm a huge SpongeBob guy, but I don't have a means to watch it that I've been, you know, actually looking into, I guess. I've heard that it's really good for the kids now. Like it's maintained that level of standing. And so it's kind of like Family Guy, where we would say Family Guy fell off, but for that age of like high schoolers and young college, like Family Guy might be like really, really like good still. So I think we have enough. I think we're good at A for Cat Dog. Let's go over to Chalk Zone. For me, I think Chalk Zone has a lot of nostalgia for me because of the idea of it. But honestly, I don't think it's as good as y'all are going to say it is. I am going to put it, I think it's a C, high C tier. It's not as good as My Life as a Teenage Robot. But Chalk Zone is a really, really cool concept. And I think it has a lot of cool memories for me, but not anything other than knowing that he just has magic chalk. You know, like I can't remember any characters or anything like that.
the problem with Chalk Zone is that they didn't give it its shine. They basically, it came on like right after or right before what was it, the Nick at Night? It was either like the last show before Nick at Night or the first one after it went off in the morning. Like you weren't watching Chalk Zone unless like you were either up super early or up super late. And so that's kind of the problem for me, is that Nick just didn't give it its time to.
But
like,
in fairness, when they had
develop.
the lineup that they did, you had to slot in Fairly and SpongeBob. You had to slide in
Exactly,
your
so it's
other
kinda-
shows that we'll talk about. So I don't think that Chalk Zone lives up to that. I think it's a really, really good.
The
yeah.
concept is S tier, but it's just the execution. It just didn't. It never got its time to.
Yeah, it's even some of just the way that they did it, as far as like just trying to create some different dimension of the Chalk Zone. Like it was fire to me. So like I almost want to put it up there next to it. You know, the teenage robot and Thornberries, but it's just like not quite.
The thing is, like,
Yeah, like
go ahead, Caleb.
I can't even remember. I only remember Rudy
Yeah.
because of the theme song. That's literally the only person I remember in
Yeah,
the show.
exactly. And the same for me. I think it's like right there with Teenage. If you told me to choose, I would choose Teenage. but it's like right there for me. But I think we would start to overcrowd B, and I think that this is the one I would put C first. We can move on to Victorious. I think it's solid C, maybe a low B. I think they had, from what I remember, some cool moments, but it's definitely a quirky, like, try to get, you know, like a kid sitcom show. And I think that Black Buddy, don't remember his name, he produces for Drake now. So, like, you know, that's the shining spot for me.
Wasn't Ariana Grande on Victorious?
She might have been.
I'm pretty sure she was on Victorious and Salmon Cat. She was Cat.
She might have been. I don't remember Victorious as much as I do as.
Bro, she's definitely Cat on the show.
I think she most definitely is, Caleb. I'm just think about that.
I'm just saying, in terms of who they produced from that show,
I don't think it's because of that show, though. I think that it's a solid show, but in terms of their live action, like, I wouldn't, if this was on, I probably wouldn't watch. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'll keep that on, you know.
Yeah, especially because it came out same time as iCarly. Like, that was the same era.
Is Zoe 101? Is that?
Yeah, we're gonna get to it.
That's Nickel. Yeah, is it on here?
Yeah, we're gonna get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it, bro.
Any adding thoughts to Victorious? We can move on from that. If not,
yeah, like you said, we're crowding B tier, and I didn't personally watch Victorious like that, but I know there's some people who are going to going to debate us on
show.
it.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, Avatar.
S tier.
So I didn't watch Avatar like y'all did, but I know that it's just because it wasn't my thing when I was younger. But I know that it is S tier.
Did you watch it when it came back out on Netflix?
I just really don't watch TV that much anymore. So I'll give it its respect.
Ty is on Avatar right now, and just even it's experiencing him experience it the way that I did. It's fire.
Like, it's up there for me with one of the best animated shows.
I'll give it to you too.
Like, I didn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah, I never hated on it because it was bad for me. It just wasn't like, I wasn't trying to like follow a show like that because it actually had a story, and so I just never really got into it. But it's a very cool concept, makes a lot of sense. It's really like advanced for a kid's show. Like, that could have been an adult type show, like if they had done it differently. So I'll give it that. El Tigre, I don't remember any.
Don't remember.
Fanboy, I don't remember enough.
F, I remember it.
Okay. I don't know what this is. Do we know what this is?
I remember it. Fred show F. That's Fred, like, from YouTube.
That's the one.
I believe this is Hey Arnold. So Hey Arnold.
Let's not even play about it.
Bro, I think it's very, very close.
It's I don't know. It's S tier. Let's not play.
No. For me, it's not. It's very close. It's very close. I think we can revisit it when we get further down. But we'll talk about it. I think that would be a cheap S tier for me. It has some shows. Some episodes are really, really good, and some episodes are like.
The thing about Hey Arnold is it's kind of like it's a mix between like the no episode really matters and like you have to follow the story. Like, Hey Arnold has some deep, like, you have to pay attention to the details of like, Helga's mom is an alcoholic, and like, I don't know, it's one of those advanced, like,
there are a few shows that I'm gonna bring up, and I'll skip to what y'all think right now. That is reason why I don't think it reaches it. Dora the Explorer, S.
Okay.
Undeniable, cultural show. When did you not watch when did you turn off Dora? You watched it even when you were like older, and it's like meant for younger kids, like 5 to 10. I'd be like 15 and be like
yeah, I mean, Dora is one of those shows that like cross boundaries. It's kind of a staple, and it's an educational show as well.
And then I would also go to Rugrats. I think that is like to me, it is unquestionably for me, and it's also because of the movies, Rugrats the movie and Rugrats in Paris, really solidified to me Rugrats is standing to our generation. So I think that's better than Hey Arnold. Not to say Hey Arnold's bad, because I think it's a really high A, but to say that it's to say it's S, you know what I mean? That's I don't y'all can sway me on these two, but that's
no cap. And I really mess with Rugrats. But part of me would choose Hey Arnold
Yeah.
over Rugrats.
Right now,
I
yes.
just feel like
right now, yes. As an adult, Hey Arnold hits better than Rugrats. But you're thinking about, bro, like Rugrats the movie is one of my most memorable movies from when I was a kid. Like we had the orange cassette tape, and when he was singing to his brother, and they were lost in the forest or whatever. Man,
I didn't know.
no, I'm talking about
Responsibilities.
he was like, baby, please close your eyes. That one, when he was wrapping them up and he was crying because he was lost. I hit. You know what I'm saying? So we can take it if you don't think it's S.
And then in Paris, I wanna mom.
Yes, bro. Yes. That was deep, bro. Cause
But we're talking about the
Rugrats is-
shows.
but the show led up. The shows laid that groundwork really hard, though, bro. Really hard. And then Cynthia, what's her name? Susie, and what's her name? And Susie was low key a hater, but in a good way.
Nah, you right, bro. We're gonna put some respect on Rugrats' name, man. Throw that in there.
Yeah, you gotta respect Rugrats. Like Hey Arnold.
Here's another one.
It's a masterpiece.
Blue's Clues.
Nah, Blue's Clues is not S tier. It's not S
Before
tier.
Steve left.
It's not S
You
tier.
can't put it if you say it's not S. But
It's not S tier.
Steve, the way he used to draw, like I used to be inspired artistically. Like, man, he's such a good drawer.
Look. Chris, you woke me up to an idea about Dora. I never thought about it. Dora is straight heat because even though it's just this simple concept, it's a formula that just works every time, every episode. There's not an episode that just doesn't work.
Every single they had a you know, something to overcome, and they had 3 steps. And sometimes Swiper would come, sometimes he wouldn't. You know what I mean? They had the map every time. It was literally
The reason why I can't justify putting all of those in S tier is because S tier is gonna get too crowded.
I agree.
So
I agree.
But I feel like
If you're saying Blue's
Nickelodeon
Clues is there.
But I feel like Nickelodeon just produces S tier material, bro.
I think that
You know what I'm saying?
if Dora is S tier, to me, Blue's Clues is right in the same realm for its genre.
I mean, you're right, but I think then Rugrats has to drop down then, because I see another one on this list that is
You
also
think
S
so?
tier.
Which one?
Drake and Josh, that's S tier.
Ooh.
Easy. It's easy. That's an easy S. Like
Of the live actions, I would say it's
Come
by
on.
far the best.
come on.
But
Come on.
What do we have? What else do we have here for
live
live action?
action, we got Ned's, Just Jordan,
But bro,
MBB.
Nasty Classified.
Nasty Classified was good.
We can talk about Ned. It's on here twice, but I'll use this one right here. Ned's is heat, and I think it is a little overrated though.
It's better than King and Kel. It's not as good as
The thing I like
Icarly.
about Ned's is that it legit was he was legit giving like real survival guides for middle school. Like if you watch it, like this was real stuff that he was talking about. So that's why I think it's really, really good. But is it really up there? We could talk about Just Jordan for me and Romeo Show. Only thing I liked about him was the theme song.
And disclaimer, I feel like I loved it for the culture and what it tried
Exactly.
to do for us, you know.
But the actual show.
It just didn't get enough back.
The thing about the show that I didn't like though is that they kind of overplayed the whole it's a black show.
And they whitewashed it a little bit. They have to put, some white characters in it.
I honestly feel like the Romeo Show was a little better than Just
It was
Jordan. in my
way
opinion.
better. I would put them both down there. Actually, I will put Romeo in C because Romeo is on the same level for me as Big Time Rush. Just Jordan, no. Romeo,
And it had the family element and it kind of was trying to be like a My Wife and Kids kind of, but from a kid's perspective, like it had some decent elements.
Let's knock some of these other ones off. I don't remember Mighty B that well.
That sounds familiar, but
Mr. Meaty don't remember. I don't even know what this is.
It's F. It's the one with the puppets. It was like super gory.
Penguins of Madagascar. Solid.
That's a B.
Solid.
That's a B.
I don't remember watching it a ton, but when I wouldn't
like it's very entertaining.
Cool. As Told by Ginger, the most underrated Nick show of all time. As Told by Ginger is fire. I think it's a little bit more feminine, and that's why we were turned off from it. It was more of a girly type show for me.
But look, check it out, bro. When you talk about just something that just has this uniqueness about a show, it's the same vibe that you get from a Hey Arnold, bro. It's just that culture and the vintage and that vibe, bro.
Like had it.
I think it's B. I don't think it's on that level. I think it's a B though. Like if you would have asked me this when I was younger, I would have been like C or F. But then like thinking back, I was like, this show is really solid. I would put it somewhere in this realm, like around Wild Thornberries. Jimmy. So we actually had this conversation with Kavan. Shout out Kavan, and I'm pretty sure it was Kavan saying how trash that Jimmy Neutron was, and that the animation was stupid and it was.
Animation
I thought it
bad.
was the same level as Fairly for a good period of time, but they kind of, the animation was a different style. It was 3D or it was like the 3D.
It was like one of the first 3D animated shows.
And so I do not think it's Fairly. I only can remember 1 or 2 episodes. Go ahead, Ken.
So I have this idea. Okay, so do you feel like the same way that they match Rugrats with Wild Thornberries, they match Fairly Oddparents with Jimmy Neutron to kind of boost the other shows in a sense?
Yes, but they were at the same time and they had, collaborations. They had movies together and shows together. So I think that's why. It's because they were running at the same time.
And the movie definitely did help, like for me, but the show was fine.
I think it was fine. It might be high C for me, low B.
Right.
I wouldn't turn it off. I think we're good. Ren and Stimpy, I do not remember enough. I do remember the show, but I do not remember enough about the show to give it a proper grading. What about you guys?
Same.
Okay.
I mean, I remember it a little bit more, but not enough to like really be educated enough about, the ins and outs to like compare it to.
I remember it was really goofy, really like Ed and Eddie-ish. If that makes sense.
Adult cartoon. It was more of an adult type cartoon.
Doug, same kind of thing. Everyone said Doug is like, the
Doug
generation below us. I think it was like AS. I don't remember enough episodes of Doug to put it in that level. I wouldn't want to.
Can we at least?
We can leave it on you, Cam. I don't remember it enough.
I feel like Doug was pretty solid, bro. Like, it's definitely not like. I feel like it's up there, but I don't feel like compared to everything, it's not everyone's cup of tea. So I feel like. Okay, do you have an opinion? If you don't have an opinion,
I'm younger than Chris, so I definitely.
So let's we can just go ahead and.
Oh, we can leave it on you. What do you think?
I mean, because I feel like Doug was pretty solid, bro. But do I feel like it's kind of one of those ones that are kind of like a floater, kind of like a gray area where it's kind of like a Hey Arnold in a sense, where it's like it's a good show, but it's like, or even like with As Told by Ginger, it's like one of those shows where it's kind of like it's not everybody's cup of tea. You know what I mean? Sure. So it's kind of hard to. But I feel like, I don't think it's a straight F, but I don't think it's necessarily as good.
I would defend it. I don't think it's anywhere near F. I just don't remember it enough to put it up. Like I would put it mid, like B.
Yeah.
But we can move on to Rocket Power. For me, the most it's the most cultured show for us. Like there was everything was like white characters or like animals and stuff. This was like not black people, but they, were
for the island,
people of color. And so I think it was really good concept, the skating.
I think it's overrated.
So you would say it's a C.
I wouldn't say it's C, but it's low B for me.
I wouldn't say it was A, but I think it's a really high, like it's higher B for me.
Because I don't even remember any of the characters.
That's like around the time when they used to really come out with the one little skateboards that you could do on the desk and stuff, like, or if you're outside riding bikes or something, like
it was all the, for me it was the marketing and the hype around the show that really like boost the legend of Rocket Power. But like I don't remember any of the characers. I could not name one
Rocket
character.
and Otto were two people.
Otto no, it was Otto Rocket.
That was his last name. The big buddy. I remember their faces. I don't remember
like he had the burger shop, but like I don't remember like storylines. I don't remember like.
I thought that shit was fire.
I thought so too.
I used to get geeked every time it came on. I was like, yeah, Rocket Power,
also,
and it was
also
like it was the action
and
like, engagement.
But I don't want to overrate it, like Caleb said.
Right.
I didn't watch enough teenage. I don't know about you guys. I didn't watch enough teenage.
I've seen some episodes.
Like the
decent.
new one. Is this? I'm guessing this is saying the new like Teenage Mutant Ninja.
It's pretty decent, but no,
well, this is the 3D animated one, so I'm guessing they're like this is.
It's the newer one, but it was while we were younger. It was on while we were younger. I don't remember it enough to give it a grade because there are multiple versions.
No, I'm either.
Danny Phantom.
Man, this is so hard.
This is very hard. For me, it's basically a wash between this and Teenage Robot for me. Like it's a coin flip. A lot of people put this in a high standing, but I would have to really dissect and look at some episodes. I would put it right here with this, and I don't have enough knowledge of penguins if we say B is overcrowded, but I wouldn't feel comfortable putting it below Teenage. I think it's right there with it.
I don't think it's up there with Cat Dog, Fairly Oddparents, Icarly. Yeah, it was a entertaining show. I remember it fondly, but I would say in terms of quality, it's just not. It's not there.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like a B is fair. I think it's a little better than average, but it wasn't like. So I think a B is more than fair.
I already know what Christian thinks of this.
Naked Brothers Band. A. What you mean? S. Where we at? Naked Brothers Band. Right here. No, so Naked Brothers Band obviously for me is not the greatest show. It just meant a lot to me in my growing up. This is the first CD I ever bought. Like I remember going to the store.
The show was kind of
the show's not that great. I just think that for me, I liked it because of the music and like that was the music I listened to when I was like 10, and they were the same age as me, like you know.
But I think what I really liked about it is that there weren't shows that were really like that for real. You know what I mean? Like they were like legitimate artists, but they played it as if they were just these kids. You know what I mean? Like they played themselves in a sense, but like it was just weird. It was a different type of show. Like I feel like it definitely was one of a kind. Like there's no other show that you can compare it to like on the same level.
I mean, for me, I would put it B because I would watch it over all of these C's like combined. Better than Big Time. Maybe Jimmy has some, but like I think it's definitely a C because like you said, it's unique. It's like not everyone's cup of tea in terms of music, obviously, but at that time I thought that they were very creative and they actually played their music. And Kasim, you know, with the dreads and stuff. Cool. But we don't have to go on next one. We already touched on Ned's and last show Zoe 101.
And that's what I was gonna say earlier. When you're comparing, what was it? Let me see. Victorious to like a Zoe 101, like there's no comparison. To me, Zoe 101 was way more fire than Victorious, in my opinion.
I like Zoe. Was Zoe the one where they were at like a university, high school prep? So I think it's
a college or whatever.
I don't think it's quite B though. I think that Ned blows it out to me, and I don't think it's quite there at B, but I do agree with you. Like Victorious is almost looking like dropping when you compare it.
Hey, this is a random question. Is Degrassi Nickelodeon?
No, Degrassi just was shown on Nickelodeon, but it was not originally a Nickelodeon show. It's actually a Canadian show.
See, because like I think that's what they kind of went for, like kind of more that teenager, more mature.
Degrassi was teenager, but
that's what
really talked about real stuff with like school shootings.
And I feel like Zoe 101 touched on certain mature topics, but not. It was still kind of like
nowhere near pregnancy and parties and drinking and all that was in Degrassi.
Well, the reason why Zoe 101 got canceled, do you know the rumor?
No.
The rumor is that Zoe got pregnant by the like producer or the writer of the show, who was like 40.
I had no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So Jamie Lynn Spears. Yeah.
Yikes.
It's a whole thing. And he's the same person who wrote iCarly, Drake and Josh, like all this stuff. And so yeah.
The industry for you.
By the way, the the first one is Sanjay and Craig.
Oh. I don't remember.
No idea what that is.
Yeah.
All right, so let's review this list. And are there any adjustments that we would propose to make to the group? Let me take a look.
So we can revisit Blue's Clues.
I was gonna say that.
Caleb, I promise you, I was like, please put Blue's Clues in S tier because I think it's up there. It's bro. Did y'all see that video when he came back and he was like,
yeah.
I just want to say that no, I never forgot you, and I was just like, bruh.
It's because he was balding. That's the only reason.
Here, Steve. Like,
I would agree with that. I almost want to drop Amanda's show a touch, and swap it. But I don't know what I would swap it for is the issue. I do think that Amanda is clustered with this. I don't think it's so far ahead. Does that make sense to y'all? I don't think it's so far ahead of Kenan and Kel and all that it should be A over this. Like I feel like they all are A or they're all B. You know what I mean? For me. But
all right. Yeah, I mean, the only reason I was putting it in A is because I wanted to acknowledge that it was the best one.
Mm-hmm. Penguins also is not B for me. I remembered enough to know that it was not that great. It was not better than Jimmy Neutron.
I think Penguins
wasn't better than Jimmy Neutron. You're right.
Chalk Zone.
Nah, well, I don't know. Penguins was pretty
better
entertaining.
Than Chalk Zone and Jimmy though.
Because even Madagascar movies are all.
We're not talking about the movies. We're not talking about the movies.
So I'm saying it's a spinoff, and I'm saying that same vibe is with Penguins, where it's kind of like this innovative, like it's kind of like this.
But the thing is, it started with the movies and then went to the show. Rugrats had the show and made movies for Nick, so I think that's where it's different for me.
Bro, the show had Chris Rock.
Because the movie had Chris Rock. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like Rugrats just came out in theaters and was like, this is Rugrats, and now we're going to have a show. It was, they grinded for years and then put out a movie that was a hit.
Hey, can we please move Jimmy Neutron to A?
I think we can move to B.
I think Doug can definitely be adjusted as well. Like, that was just me being selfish, but
I don't remember it enough, so I don't feel comfortable necessarily moving it. Jimmy, I think it's better than MBB.
Me personally, I really like Jimmy.
Me
Neutron.
too.
I will say, I remember it fondly. I remember it as an A show, but I'm thinking, in retrospect, what was actually a good, solid show all around.
I would do this. I would do that. Rocket Power to me is really good. But I watched a lot more Jimmy Neutron than Rocket Power, and it's not because it's not just because I didn't have a choice. Rocket Power, like you said, was not as memorable to me as Jimmy. That's what I would say. Y'all might not agree.
And I want to just give a disclaimer. I think the Barnyard or whatever with the cows and the little farm animals was a pretty decent show. It just is not. I don't want to.
That's spin off a movie, right?
Yeah.
I think they had
The movie was
for that too.
better
That was
than the
decent,
show.
but-
They tried to do the same thing with the penguins, and it. Yeah. All right, so I think that's a pretty good wrap for me.
That one was tough.
This was a tough one, yeah.
This is a tough one, but we appreciate y'all for checking us out. Next time, I believe we got some Thanksgiving food to talk about. So, like we said, thank you for joining us, and can't wait to see y'all on the next time. Make sure you comment down below what you think. If we need to make some adjustments, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Sit back, turn it up and let it ride. Tune in any day or any night. You need to hit the like and please subscribe right now.